I'm your host, Michelle Mirad. It's so nice to see you again. I hope everyone has had a great week so far and stayed nice and cool because it has been a hot one again. Let's get into what's going on in the South Bay and the extended surrounding communities. Speaking of, the drought continues and Governor Newsom is in full effect to get the word out on how to conserve the water supply. A proposed $3.4 billion water recycling facility would produce up to 150 million gallons daily if completed. The governor announced last week that the expansion of the state's Save Our Water campaign is to encourage Californians to reduce water use as the drought continues to worsen. The campaign is in multiple languages over several media platforms and is part of the ongoing effort. More than a dozen influencers and content creators have been asked to be part of the campaign to spread awareness. The state has also launched a California Water Watch to inform residents about hydrological conditions in their own communities and to learn about incentives and rebates that will support water-saving upgrades in the home and yard. Everyone deserves a second chance. El Camino College, formerly incarcerated student program, receives a $160,000 grant. On May 2nd, El Camino First program received the grant, which will be used to help students who have been impacted by the criminal justice system. It will assist with basic needs, academic support, and career development training. El Camino is one of 59 colleges to secure a Raising Scholarship Network grant designed to support students who have been impacted by the criminal justice system. Properties in Marina del Rey face wildfire property damage. 80 million properties in the U.S. are at risk of exposure to wildfire, according to new model and report from the nonprofit First Street Foundation. Not surprisingly, Californians are identified as one of the states with the highest risks. Thanks to the drought, Marina del Rey has been selected as an area with potential damage. Although wildfires are on the minor side in Marina del Rey, according to First Street's Risk Factor website, the area has a major risk for flooding. The extreme drought conditions and rising temps are contributing to the longer and more destructive wildfire season. On a brighter note, Fiesta Hermosa returns. It's relocated to Pier Avenue at the community center. The relocation is in an effort to help keep the area from overcrowding. The popular downtown garden will go upscale with craft beer from local breweries, and there will be kids games as well. The most significant change to the Hermosa event will be the exciting 3 nights of music on the beach, featuring Redondo Dead, Deja Vu, Ghost in the Machine, Just Pretending, Mirage, and Live from Earth. The concert takes place Saturday through Monday from 4 to 9 p.m. on the south side of the pier. Our Lady of Guadalupe gets a makeover. On Saturday, Our Lady of Guadalupe unveiled a $4 million, 7,000 square foot fine arts and STEM building. This is the 60th anniversary of the Hermosa Beach Catholic Elementary School. The new design includes brand new faculty rooms, conference rooms, and administration rooms. The new style reflects the same look of contemporary Hermosa Strand homes with sharp angles, big windows, and long passageways overlooking the schoolyard. Not everything is angelic over at the new Angel Stadium deal. When Henry Sadu ran for office in 2018, his one major promise was to keep the Angels in Anaheim. Now, the deal that he helped to sell the city's baseball stadium and keep the team local could be in jeopardy. Sadu is under federal investigation for alleged corruption in connection with the stadium sale. On Tuesday afternoon, an Orange County Superior Court judge granted the state attorney general Rob Bonta's request to delay the approval of a legal settlement to complete the stadium sale. Some officials say it's too early to predict whether the deal will go through. We'll keep you posted as we learn more on this not-so-angelic news. The future is here. Uber and Santa Monica companies start driverless food delivery. Motional, a driverless car company based in Santa Monica, has now begun offering food delivery with Uber Eats. The company was the first to drive a fully autonomous vehicle cross-country and had the world's first robot taxi pilot in Singapore. They currently operate a public robotaxi fleet in Vegas. They're also on track to offer a fully driverless robotaxi service with no one behind the wheel. Not scary at all. Participating merchants for the food delivery will receive a notification when the car arrives, meet the vehicle, and place the order in this specially designed backseat compartment. Just like any other delivery service, the customer will receive an alert, securely unlock the vehicle door via the app, and collect their order. Uber sees driverless vehicles playing a long-term role on its platform and plans to be an accelerator in bringing this innovative technology to customers. Pride Month is proposed to move to Beverly Hills. For the first time ever, the city of Beverly Hills is expected to host a celebration of Pride Month with events and activities spanning the first 2 weeks of June. On May 12th, at the Culture Commission Special Liaison Meeting, staff presented Mayor Lily Bowes and Council Member John Murish with a proposal for the inaugural Beverly Hills Pride 2022. The effort will show that the city is behind the LGBTQ community and show support for diversity and inclusion. We'll keep you up to date as we learn more to see if Beverly Hills will be hosting the first ever Pride there. Cal State Dominguez Hill receives $700,000 in funds for occupational therapy program. Cal State Dominguez Hill's nursing and occupational therapy training facilities will be receiving some serious upgrades thanks in part to federal funding. Representative Nanette Diaz-Barragan helped out safely. The Democratic Congresswoman, whose district includes Dominguez Hills, visited the university's campus near Carson on Wednesday, May 4th, to present $700,000 in federal funding that would improve the training laboratory at the College of Health, Human Services, and Nursing. The College of Health, Human Services, and Nursing is home to the only occupational therapy program in Southern California, and the university has been approved to develop the first doctoral program in that field of the CSU campus, according to the release. Dogs pair with school police to support students' mental health in Garden Grove Unified. Nellie and Misha, two support dogs, are making the rounds in Garden Grove Unified schools, offering students another layer of social-emotional support. Garden Grove Unified administrators and local police are bringing trained support dogs onto campuses to help students facing stress or even trauma. The dogs, Misha and Nellie, were introduced Monday, May 16th at Mitchell Elementary in Garden Grove during an afternoon assembly as school and police officials announced the new collaboration to provide social-emotional support for students. While the program was officially announced Monday for the district, the dogs have already made an impact at Mitchell Elementary. The idea behind the program sprung from a conversation resource school officer Patrick Julian had with his 15-year-old daughter Lily last October. Talking about dogs, she told her dad about a support dog a counselor brings to her school. Why not bring support dogs, she asked, to Garden Grove Unified Schools? And just like that, it happened. La Habra's 17-acre Vista Grande Park, which has sat unused for decades, is set for a major revamp over the next few years. City officials recently approved the almost $9 million plan to transform the vacant park space just off West Lambert Road into a bustling community gathering place that will include an amphitheater, playground, sport courts, and the city's first dog park. City officials in 2019 started working with residents on a vision for the park. Ferrier said coming up with the idea for the dog park and amphitheater, as well as the playground, basketball and volleyball courts, a workout trail, gazebo, and parking, was so exciting. With official approval and designs almost complete, Ferrier said he expects the city will put out bids for construction this summer in the hopes of breaking ground before the end of the year. He He said the new park, which is bordered by Coyote Creek to the south and is close to a few housing complexes, should take about 18 months to complete. We're probably looking at sometime in calendar year around 2024 they open the park to the public, he said. Michelle Mirad here. Welcome back to South Bay TV. I am with the lovely Danielle Spangler. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. You are not only a woman of many talents, but you're a woman of many businesses, from what I understand. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So I know that you brought a prop, but you are predominantly here for Core Mom Fitness. That's what brings you here, right?
Yes, that's what brings me here today.
Tell me about Core Mom Fitness.
Awesome. Happy to.
Yes.
So I specialize in pre and postnatal fitness as well as women's health. I have a Pilates studio in South Redondo called Beach Life Fitness Boutique, but I teach my program, Core Mom Fitness, there, and it stands for Corrective Obstetrical Related Exercise. I know it's a mouthful.
And it's a mouthful.
But I've been working with women, primarily teaching them how to engage pelvic floor muscles and rehabilitate from pregnancy, childbirth, and then of course moving on into different phases of life where that tissue can be compromised. So this Core Mom Fitness program we offer at my studio specifically. I used to teach it around the South Bay prior to COVID, but now we are just focusing right now predominantly at my studio in South Redondo.
Wonderful. Okay, so I know a little bit about the pelvic floor because I am a Pilates student, but tell people why the pelvic floor is so important to everyone that's watching.
Right. So men have pelvic floors as well, but we're going to focus on the women's pelvic floors for now. So the pelvic floor is essentially a sling of muscles at the base of your hips, a base of your pelvis. And it's about, depending on the textbook you read, it can vary from 11 to 14 muscles. And these are really important because obviously they're holding up all your internal organs and they have really important functions, the pelvic floor. So of course, when a woman is pregnant, there's a lot of weight bearing down on her pelvic floor muscles when she delivers a baby, whether it's through vaginal birth or C-section. There's a lot of pressure down on those muscles. And so, we've just really in the last decade or so talked about it. It can be quite embarrassing for women because they can suffer from a slew of pelvic floor dysfunction issues. Man, I can't speak.
That's okay. That is a tongue twister. A pelvic floor dysfunction. Dysfunction. See, I couldn't even say it the first time. Dysfunction issues.
Correct.
What are some of the dysfunction issues that we should look out for?
So it's a general umbrella that covers a lot of different dysfunction, and again we're talking about the pressure on the pelvic floor. So primarily a lot of women, I would say probably 70% or so of all women who have a baby suffer from incontinence. So that is just leaking urine, like uncontrollable urge to use the restroom, etc. And so that is really common, and a lot of women of course are embarrassed to speak out about that.
Who wants to talk about that? Nobody wants to talk about that. They never talk about what goes into having a baby and after a baby, because so many people want you to have babies and they're just like, have babies. We won't tell you what goes into
what really happens.
After, before, during, after, we're not going to tell you anything. Okay,
correct.
So that happens. There's a lot of discomfort. And
yes, absolutely. There can be pelvic floor pain. There can be other things associated with incontinence or separated from incontinence. Another common pelvic floor dysfunction is called diastasis recti.
What is that?
Okay.
That sounds terrible.
Essentially, it's the ligament that runs down the center of the abdomen. It connects your right and left side of your abdomen. Obviously, when a woman gets pregnant, this ligament thins to expand so that her belly will expand with the pregnancy. I know the body's pretty amazing.
Kids should be telling you every day. Your kids should be telling you every day. Thank you.
I know, right?
Thank you for having me.
I know, it really is. I talk about this a lot in a lot of the fitness conferences I'm a part of, but pregnancy and delivery is very traumatic. I mean, obviously it is natural.
I've never had it. It sounds traumatic.
It's traumatic, but you can recover. It's like recovering over any kind of injury or surgery. And this is something I lecture about as well.
Where do you lecture about this?
Well,
where can people find you about this? Because this is very important too.
Thank you.
You're
well,
welcome.
I talk about it in our Core Mom Fitness program. You know, we're very active on social media, talking about all the things we're talking about right now. But I also personally present. I'm on the Education Advisory Board for Medical Fitness Network, which is an amazing network of physicians, of physical therapists, and of fitness professionals to help improve the quality of care for people. So, for example, if you have, let's talk about pelvic floor, for example.
Please.
So a woman has a baby and she's talking to her OBGYN. Okay, what now? What do I do?
Yes.
I want to get back into exercise. I'm 6 weeks postpartum. I've been given clearance.
Yeah.
And the OBGYN will typically, we're getting there, but not as standard here in this country, but in other countries, the OBGYN will automatically refer that person to a physical therapist that specializes in pelvic floor health, just to have a consultation to make sure everything's okay.
Yeah.
Now, typically here we don't do that unless something's really like red flagged, you know.
Strange.
If the woman's like really having some pain or discomfort, that's when the referral may happen. But in general, in other countries, it happens automatically. And so then after PT, the physical therapist would say, okay, you can gradually enter exercise gently and continue some of the pelvic floor work we've done, but incorporate more exercising. And that's where I would come into play. So there's, like you said, Pilates. Pilates is great.
Pilates doesn't feel very gentle.
Yes, it
Unless I'm going to the wrong studio.
100%. Well, it depends on the class. Okay. I mean, obviously, anything can be more advanced or it can be trimmed down to accommodate someone who's just had a baby. And it really is important to modify, because I know that especially in the South Bay, so many women are strong and they're athletic.
Yes, I noticed that.
And there's a lot of pressure to feel normal after you've had a baby, to feel like your pre-pregnant self.
Yes.
So there's a lot of pressure.
Thank you, Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
There are so many benefits of social media, but then there are so many sides of it that like flip the coin, where it's like, this is what you look like 3 weeks after having a baby. The pressure for women is just ridiculous.
It is.
And the things that we have to unlearn individually and as a society is a lot of work.
We have to break those stigmas, because honestly, I've had 3 children, so I've been there, done that, so I understand what's involved with the recovery process. And as athletic as I have been my whole life, and of course the first thing I wanted to do is get back to feeling like myself.
Of course.
It's really hard to slow down women around here, but it's so very important.
Yes.
And I know you're going to go to your OBGYN, and typically their general standard, their answer is, do what you did pre-pregnancy as long as there's no red flags. But think about that. You're 6 weeks postpartum. You're not sleeping most likely.
Yeah, you're probably going to have a lot.
Your body's still healing, and then you're going to go jump into a high-intensity cycle class or run on the strand. I don't think so.
No.
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea. So we talked a little bit about the pelvic floor and some of the red flags and where you would come in. I glanced at your Instagram a little bit, and I love that you have some of these moms bring their babies to class, which is so great.
It was always really important for me, because I understand, especially if you have a newborn, it's really hard to find necessarily childcare, nor do you want to leave your baby.
Right.
You could be breastfeeding, all kinds of different scenarios, going back to work, not wanting to leave your child. So we do allow for non-mobile babies, and even mobile babies if you're able to bring them in a stroller, so obviously they're not wandering about during the class.
Stay still for 30 minutes.
Exactly, which I know is not realistic, because again, I have children. But yeah, we try to make it as, you know, easy for moms to come and to create this community. So women are not just coming and getting an awesome workout that's safe and effective, but they're able to, you know, collaborate and commiserate with other moms.
Yes, it's almost like a mommy and me, but like for physical therapy almost.
Exactly. And I've been teaching this kind of class for ages.
Wow.
I specialized in pre and postnatal in graduate school. I got my undergrad in kinesiology, went to get my master's in exercise physiology, and my thesis was actually going to be in prenatal fitness.
Wow.
And then after college, I went on to work with a lot of pregnant women. So I've been doing this now for over 20 years.
So this was your destiny. You were destined to
I didn't realize that, you know, almost 20 or more than 20 years later, I'd really be doing the same thing.
Wow.
But it's evolved and it's changed, and I know more. I wrote for the National Academy of Sports Medicine. I created their first prenatal continuing education program for other fitness professionals. So not only do I try to empower and teach women going into this phase of their lives how to address it, but I also want other fitness professionals to understand how to safely exercise with women in this phase.
You are so impressive.
Oh gosh, thank you.
I love that not only do you have a studio, you're also teaching other people on how to, like, you're just literally doing a domino effect for so many great things.
Thank you.
I'm blown away. You are just, yeah, I'm blown away. It's amazing.
Thank
It's
you.
amazing how many women are so talented, but to be sitting across from somebody who's making
thank you.
such impact in not only in the South Bay, but around the surrounding communities,
Well,
because
I really
it definitely
appreciate it.
is a, like I said, it's a domino effect, it's a ripple effect, like when it starts with one, and then you create this community, and you're doing what you love. Other people are doing what they
Thank
love.
you.
They're getting back into their bodies, and they're feeling healthy and great.
Yeah.
You brought a guest with you. Can you introduce us to this guest?
So normally I use something called a pelvic core ball, and it
Okay.
was created, as I mentioned, I collaborate a lot with physical therapists that specialize in women's health. And so I met one many years ago from Chicago. She has an amazing apparatus. This is not it, but it's called the pelvic core ball.
The
And it looks
pelvic core
very
ball.
similar to
Okay.
this, but red or gray. And it has a strap around it, so it straps onto your legs. We have them at the studio, so I do have them for sale. But this is just a standard kind of squishy yoga ball that you can get, also on the internet. It lacks the straps that go around your thighs. But this is one thing I use, one apparatus I use in class to help women connect with their pelvic floor muscles. And we call it the ABCs.
Okay,
So I'll
walk me through
explain.
it. Walk me through the ABCs.
Okay,
I
got
wish that we could do this
No.
and show out.
Totally.
Okay,
I
walk
mean, you
me through
can
it.
do this either lying on your back, which is
Okay.
what I recommend as a
Okay.
starting position. I can do it right here explaining it sitting up. But essentially, whatever you're doing, you're going to take this little squishy ball. You can even use a pillow if you don't have a ball available. You're going to place it between your knees, and you see me, I'm sitting up nice and straight on my sits bones, having the ball right between my knees. But the first thing I would teach is called diaphragmatic breath.
What is
And it's
diaphragmatic breath?
It's four-dimensional breathing. So basically it's taking your breath all the way around and breathing from your diaphragm.
Is that different from the way singers breathe?
Yes, there's all kinds of different
Okay.
ways that one can breathe depending on
Okay.
what the goal of the breath is.
All right, so what is the goal of a diaphragmatic breath?
Very great question. So
Thank
if you
you.
were to look at someone anatomically and you see their spine, right? At the base of their spine is that sling I described at the beginning, and that's your pelvic floor
Right.
muscle group.
That
at
we
the top,
don't want to go
exactly,
astray.
exactly. We got to keep it in check.
Okay.
And at the top of the spine, you have your diaphragm.
Okay.
So it looks like a canister. Top
Oh.
is diaphragm, below is pelvic floor.
Interesting.
And they're all connected. So when you exhale, and
Okay.
you're using your diaphragm to exhale, all these muscles actually rise.
Wow, so how do I know that I'm doing it?
That's a good question
So I'm
as well.
sitting up. Mm-hmm. Okay, now
So
I know.
let's place our
practice.
hand on
Okay.
our belly, because
Okay.
really where you're going to feel it is you're going to feel the movement of the belly. So relaxing your shoulders. So the first thing you're going to do is
I
you're going
always have my shoulders. I notice that I always have my shoulders up. I don't know if it's
know.
from driving or from
It's from
posing.
life.
It's from
life, babe, life. I'm always like shoulders down if I can see it.
What is it about the shoulders? Is it because we emotionally carry things and we lift
Agreed.
our shoulders up? Is that what
Yes.
it is?
I think
Or,
it's a
that's
lot of
my
things. I think
thought.
lifestyle, like we're all at the computer,
Yeah, right.
We're all doing things where we're folding forward. And so our shoulders are naturally elevating.
Right.
So it is
So
important.
shoulders back,
and from
down.
Pilates,
Okay.
just noting that you're sitting nice and straight.
Nice and straight.
And your hands on your belly. And we
Hands on
want
my
that
belly.
natural curve in our
Okay.
spine. So I'll run you through the process of diaphragmatic breathing.
Okay.
So when you inhale through your nose. And then when you exhale like you're blowing through a straw. So with pursed lips, creating tension. Do it a couple of times for me. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. Now, what do you notice right off the top? Your belly expands when you're inhaling.
Yeah.
Your belly contracts when you're exhaling.
I do.
So that's a natural subconscious response.
So what am I supposed to be doing?
That's exactly what you're doing.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So now we're going to put a little more emphasis to it.
Okay.
So this is the second part. So when you inhale, you're expanding. When you exhale through your mouth, you're contracting. At the same time, you're squeezing that ball between your teeth.
Oh!
Now, generally, again, if you were lying on your back, what I would have my client do is not only squeeze the ball in the exhale, but also press the small of her back down. Obviously, that's a little harder to do when you're sitting up tall.
Totally.
You can do a little bit of a pelvic tilt, and that's part 3. Okay? So, exhaling, pushing the back, squeezing the ball. So you're generally doing a pelvic tilt where
you can do this with a pillow, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can tilt your pelvis towards your ribs. So you notice you're kind of shortening the torso, and then on the inhale, you're opening the torso.
Whoa.
So it's exhale, contract, inhale, open.
That's awesome. I already feel more open to the world and possibilities.
To the world. And then the other part that I do teach is more visualization.
I love that.
So
what are we visualizing?
You love this. Well, that would be interesting for this next one.
I'm like visualizing Montecito homes with Oprah and avocado cooking. That's what I would be visualizing. But okay, well,
let me give you there's another visual. It's more of a cue. It's more of an internal cue. So when you exhale and you squeeze that ball and you push your back down, what you want to think of is that you're lifting a blueberry through the pelvic floor in towards the navel. And then on the, I know. When you exhale, that pelvic floor. Now, I talk about Kegels, but I don't.
Okay.
Because a lot of us, and I'll tell you a little bit more in a few minutes, but Kegels, a lot of us are doing them wrong.
Okay, I don't even know. I know
it's okay.
I
we'll
know
talk about Kegels separately because it's okay. We can just pretend that we don't even know what Kegels are. But Kegels essentially are just a contraction of your vaginal muscles, birth canal up and down. Well, what studies have shown with physical therapists is that women are halfway contracting but not fully relaxing, which is a key to some of the dysfunction. We all have tight pelvic floors, not all, but a lot of us.
Why is that?
I think stress. I think that we've learned Kegels improperly. I know that I've heard from some clients that they were told by their doctor to do a Kegel, but they obviously
don't know what it is.
Yeah, what is it? And if no one's actually telling you how to do it and teaching you and walking you through the process, like a pelvic floor PT, I mean, how are you to know?
Right.
And then you have someone actually assessing you internally to tell you if you're contracting or relaxing.
Got it.
So they did this study with like electrodes, and they can tell via sonogram or ultrasound if a person is actually engaging their pelvic floor muscles. We actually have a pelvic floor physical therapist on staff at my studio.
Oh my gosh.
She has a machine that she can tell externally if a woman is engaging properly.
That is so cool.
I know, it's so cool. So I'm so into it. But, you know, it is important because it is a muscle group. You know, we talk about all the other muscles, but we really don't talk about pelvic floor and all the internal work. So when you go into that internal cueing or visualization, it does help to think about that blueberry lifting up your pelvic floor, and on the inhale, you're dropping it, you're relaxing everything. So it's exhale, lift it up, inhale, drop it down. The other thing I talk about, and all the women can relate to this maybe even better, especially if you haven't had a child, is zipping up tight jeans.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all can relate to that.
Right. So again,
everyone relates to that.
Exactly. So it's like zipping up from the pelvic floor or the pubic bone up to the navel, and then the inhale, relax. Let all the muscles completely disengage and relax. So this kind of movement, it is cool. And with the ball, it actually adds another element, because when you're squeezing like this, you're contracting those pelvic floor muscles.
And then you've got your glutes and your hamstrings and your whole body.
Yeah, and the glutes are actually part of the pelvic floor group because it's part of the whole hip complex. So you're not just targeting, you know, the base of the pelvic floor. You're looking at glute strength, because a lot of women have underactivated glutes. We have tight hamstrings, tight hip flexors, because if you look at how a lot of us stand, it's with an anterior tilt to our pelvis.
Why do you think
so
that
our butt
is?
sticks back. Genetically, if you've had babies, you're just naturally prone to standing like that, because your belly's forward, your breasts are forward. I mean, think about kind of everything is in the front. So you're kind of like pushing your body forward. So if you have a lot of lower back pain, this is another kind of cute. This helps.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different exercises. These are kind of the basic foundation of what I teach, and then we start to progress from there.
And then build upon that.
Exactly.
And it's so great to have somebody like you not only be just somebody who can educate, but also be that you're like a therapist who, and like a coach, and you're just you're like the perfect mom.
Oh my gosh!
for a student to come to see you. Where can we find more information, and where can people come see you?
Thank you.
Yes,
absolutely.
Sure.
So we do, like I said, we're operating primarily now out of my Pilates studio, which is Beach Life Fitness Boutique.
Beach Life Fitness Boutique. Can we find them on Instagram?
Yes, ma'am. I'm all over all of it.
Okay, let's get the word out so people can work on their pelvis floor.
And our Core Mom Fitness Instagram is run separately. Like we're doing a pop-up around the corner
so fun.
pelvic floor PT.
When are you doing that?
That is next week.
Amazing.
And you can find all that information. We actually have a Beach Life app as well.
What?
Yes. I'm super high tech. Come on. So if you download the app, you can see our full schedule, but you can learn more about Core Mom Fitness, see our pop-ups. We're going to be collaborating and doing some things with some other studios. Finally, as COVID, is kind of dying down a little.
Yes.
I don't know if we dare say.
Yes.
But I have worked with Beach Cities Health District and a bunch of other studios across town because this is a very unique program. Mm-hmm. It's not offered in a lot of places. And just what I gave you, that example of the pelvic floor, that is just the beginning. I mean, the whole class is more involved.
Right.
We do functional training, which teaches women how to move their body functionally, which we all do every day, like bending over, grabbing the car seat, all the things that we need to do.
How those things can you start to notice your body is changing or different, and if you're not exercising it and tuning it, you're gonna what is it, if you don't use it, you lose it?
Well, and that's it. So what I really emphasize to ladies is it's really important, no matter what phase you are postpartum, even if you have a 7-year-old and you never really address this issue or these muscles, it's important to start from scratch and go from there and engage those muscles and learn how to engage them, because what you do during and after pregnancy can affect you the rest of your life. And I'm sorry to say that. I don't want to scare you. I don't want to scare you.
No, it's good to have the reality of what
the reality of what birth looks like. Exactly. And so, I follow a very, not a strict treatment plan or timeline, but I do have a treatment plan in place, just as you would if you had injured your shoulder, gone for surgery, like I gave that example earlier about having an injury and going through the steps to rehabilitate.
Yeah.
So we do it all, and it is important. Like I said, I work with a lot of my peers who are premenopausal, postmenopausal, and this kind of work is equally as important. So it's a maintenance long term.
Yep.
It's not just do it right after pregnancy and move on.
Yeah.
It's a soft tissue issue, and so it's definitely treatable and preventable.
Great.
And that's the one message I do want to get across, because one of the number one issues that women end up in assisted living when they're older is incontinence. And so if we know,
gosh, what we go through is insane.
It is. And so if you're not treating this issue, can you imagine, you're getting to be older and you're having some leakage or problems and you're maybe unable to care for yourself. So it's really important to address this as a muscle group. It goes beyond its quality of life.
Great.
One other thing that we had chatted about briefly before the interview is that my husband and I co-own Pure Vita, which is
great. Thank you for bringing that up.
Of course.
Thank you for bringing that up.
It's a vegan Italian restaurant. We have one location in Redondo Beach, but our first location was in West Hollywood.
That sounds delicious.
It's amazing. And the only reason I bring it up is we're located right next door to the restaurant. So Beach Life is,
so you can work out.
Exactly. But we're all about healthy lifestyle, healthy living, incorporating nutrition and teaching nutrition. We have nutritional services at the studio, as well as Pilates, private training, the whole thing. But we're really big on helping women especially, but young families just live healthier, especially in the South Bay when we're all about it.
Tell me about Pura Vita.
Yes.
And how it came to be.
Totally.
Okay.
So,
I'm excited.
This is very exciting story.
I love exciting stories. I love exciting stories. Especially when it comes to food.
So, my husband and I worked for an all-inclusive resort after college.
Are you allowed to say which one?
Yeah, sure. Club Med.
Okay. Is that how you met?
Indirectly, we met here in LA.
Wait, you guys worked at the same place?
We never worked together. He's 4 years older. He's from Indiana.
Cute.
I'm from Texas. And we both worked for Club Med Resort. He taught water skiing, and I was the fitness instructor.
And your paths never crossed when you were there?
No. And
but in the South Bay?
Well, so in 1998, when I moved here, I got my job at Sports Club LA. I came to visit, and mutual friends from Club Med introduced us.
That is so cute.
Anyways, the rest is history.
Yes.
But ironically, a lot of things in our life have come full circle to Club Med. So he was working in Turks and Caicos, on the island of Turks and Caicos in 1992.
Not a bad place to be working.
Teaching water ski, and he met a family, and the girl on in the family is our chef, Tara Punzone.
Oh my gosh!
So he befriended this New York Italian family, and then, they lost contact over the years, but Club Med was like that. People would come on vacation once or twice a year. They'd revisit the same clubs. The people that worked for Club Med were called GOs. It's a French company.
Okay.
So
what does GO stand for?
Gentil Organizer.
Gentil Organizer.
Yes, gentle kind. And then the guests were called GMs, which stands for Gentil Mom.
Gentil Mom.
Gentil Mom.
Okay.
So she was a Gentil Mom. She was a GM. We were GOs. But again, my husband met the family, lost contact. Years later, my husband was a producer for commercials here in LA. He went out to New York for a job. He found out through another friend of ours from Club Med that she was working at a really famous vegan restaurant in New York City. And I'm telling him, giggling, because it was just on Netflix.
Oh, it was? Which restaurant was this?
Pure Food and Wine. Is that right? Yeah, Pure Food and Wine.
Oh, wow. Okay, so she's working there.
The Netflix documentary is called Bad Vegan. Anyways, I'm skipping over that. I'm sure we can put it on.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
She left. So she moved here.
Still in the tea.
We are definitely smelling the tea. That's a big. You should watch it.
It's on my queue.
Yeah,
Bad Vegan.
Yeah, so she worked, and she's in the documentary.
Oh my gosh!
A half second.
I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I'm gonna watch it now.
She moved here 10 years ago, and her boyfriend got a job here, and they moved together. And so she was Toby Maguire's private chef, and then she was hired by Real Food Daily, which is a vegan chain.
I've had food from there. And
and she opened up more on her watch. She opened up one in the American Airlines terminal. But anyway, she grew the business, and she was like part of our family. So she would come to every Thanksgiving. Once we reconnected, Jay visited her. She moved here. She was like our family. So every Thanksgiving, etc. And then in 2017, the restaurant, the chain was sold. And
Real Food
Daily was sold to someone else.
I know that.
And so she decided she was going to part ways. At the same time, my husband was an executive producer for a VR company in downtown LA. He ended also, they dissolved the production company. So the two of them were there. Now, it was Tara's lifelong dream to open up her own Italian vegan restaurant.
I love that.
And she is so amazing. And so anyways, she and Jay started talking, and we're not restaurateurs. I was a waitress before I became an aerobics instructor, but this was for a half second.
Again,
and
this is part of your life.
I was 18. I was very young. I haven't done that since. I think the serving community is amazing, but I don't know very much about it.
Listen, being a server is not an easy job.
No, it isn't.
I've tried it.
Exactly. I'm like, that's so hard. So anyways, I don't know that much about the restaurant business itself. Neither does my husband. But he decided to try to help support Tara. We took out a small business loan. And we went into partnership and opened up the first Pure Vita in West Hollywood in September 2018.
And you have 2 now.
We have 3 technically.
3.
So we opened up.
Congratulations.
It's crazy. I know.
That's amazing.
Restaurants and a gym during COVID. What could happen?
I mean, when things are meant to be, though, they're meant to be. So you're now going to be opening a third one, or you have a third one?
The third one is Redondo.
Okay.
So 6 months into opening the OG Pura Vida, there was a restaurant next door to us that was for sale. And we wanted to turn it into a pizzeria because the kitchen could not have capacity for a pizza oven, and that was part of her dream. So we had to create a separate business, and it's Pura Vida Pizzeria, but it's right next door. So it's on Santa Monica near Sweetser. That's our OG.
Yum.
And so one is pizza and more fun comfort food, and the other one is pasta, fine wine.
So you can eat fun foods when you're vegan.
Oh my gosh, she has taken it to another level. She makes cheeses out of nuts. I've never had anything like this.
How does one actually do that?
I don't know. I'm not the chef.
We're gonna have to have it on.
Oh my God, she's amazing.
Yes.
She's amazing, and the restaurant's won all kinds of awards.
That's amazing! Congratulations!
Yeah, thank you. We're so proud.
Yeah.
And then when obviously in the midst of COVID, there was another restaurant right next to my Pilates studio. And our landlord's amazing. We've had such a great relationship. And the restaurant was actually named after him. It was called Enrique's. It was a Mexican fusion restaurant. And unfortunately, they were trying to sell prior to COVID. So they ended up, after COVID hit, they had to just, terminate the restaurant. So the landlord said, hey, I know you guys would like to open a Redondo location. How about this one?
That's so great.
And we were like, oh my God, the timing isn't great. But, this is our dream. And this restaurant is beautiful. It's turnkey because the woman that owned it prior was an interior designer. So she put so much love into it. So tile work is incredible. It's just beautiful.
Where can people find out more information about Pura Vita?
Thank you. We also are on social media.
Okay.
It's Pura Vita or Pura Vita.
How do you spell it?
Pura.
Okay.
Pura. VITA. Oh my God. Am I the worst?
Okay, no, it's okay. You've been talking for a while, so it's okay.
Spelling is hard. But we do have Pura Vita LA.
Okay.
We have Pura Vita Pizzeria. So we have 3 socials, and we have Pura Vita Redondo.
I'm going to follow all of them. I'm so hungry. I cannot wait.
It's incredible.
Definitely want to do more of the vegan stuff.
I think our website is puravitalosangeles.com.
PuraVitaLosAngeles.com.
But, who knows in the future. We would love to open more eventually. I mean, my chef will probably kill me for saying that because we're all working very hard.
Next is going to be the Netflix documentary about how fitness and food fuel your dreams and your destiny. And
oh my gosh, stop it. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm sold.
If you need somebody to help pitch it.
And how Club Med, yes, please. And how Club Med ties it all in.
I mean, there's so much history behind it, and the story is so fabulous. And I love, again, the health, the fitness, the fun, because that's what it's really all about.
For sure.
And just taking care of our bodies and our minds. And it's an absolute pleasure and a joy to have met you and to learn about your restaurant. For more information, make sure you check out all of her socials. We'll list them below. And we look forward to telling you more. And stay tuned for Wayne as he interviews Andy from Hard Rain.
We build design houses. So we can either design houses from architecture plans from the ground up, or we can remodel certain spaces, just a kitchen, just a bathroom, or a full scope remodel. What comes out is an end result that's beyond what my client had even hoped was possible for themselves.
I'm Wayne Powell, and today we have Andy Hill of the dynamic singing duo Andy and Renee. Unfortunately, Renee Safier is under the weather today. Andy will be performing some of their outstanding hits and talking about their upcoming June 4th Dylanfest Music Festival. Andy and Renee are known for their unique, energy-packed live performances. Their 17 CDs and 3 DVDs have won countless awards, including Billboard's World Music Awards, Honorable Mention, Los Angeles Music Awards, Americana Group of the Year, and the International Acoustic Music Awards, Best Duo/Group. They're best known as producers and main performers of the annual Dylanfest, an 8-hour music festival tribute to Bob Dylan, attended by hundreds of fans and featuring many of LA's top performing musicians. It's now in its 32nd year. Welcome, Andy.
Hi, thanks so much for having me, Wayne.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to talk about Dylanfest in a minute, but how about a song?
All right. I'll start with one from my favorite, not just my favorite Bob Dylan album, but my favorite album of all time. It's from Blood on the Tracks, and it's called Shelter from the Storm. 'Twas in another lifetime, one of toil and blood, when blackness was a virtue and the road was full of mud. I came in from the wilderness, a creature void of form. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. And if I pass this way again, you can rest assured I'll always do my best for her, on that I give my word. In a world of steel-eyed death and men, all fighting to be born. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Not a word was spoke between us. There was no risk involved. Everything up to that point had been left unresolved. Try imagining a place where it's always safe and warm. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. I was burned out from exhaustion, buried in the hail, pleasant in the bushes, rode out on the trail. Hunted like a crocodile, ravaged in the corn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Suddenly I turned around and she was standing there, with silver bracelets on her wrists and flowers in her hair. She walked up to me so gracefully and she took my crown of thorns. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Now there's a wall between us. Something has been lost. I took too much for granted. Got my signals crossed. Just to think that it all began on an uneventful morn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Now I've heard newborn babies wailing like a mourning dove, and old men with ragged teeth who are stranded without love. Do I understand your question, man? Is it hopeless, forlorn? Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Now the deputy walks on hard nails and the preacher rides a mount. Nothing really matters much, it's doom alone that counts. And the one-eyed undertaker, he blows a funeral horn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. In a little hilltop village, they gambled for my clothes. I bargained for salvation, to give me a lethal dose. I offered up my innocence, got repaid with scorn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Now I'm a living in a foreign country, but I'm a bound to cross the line. Beauty walks and raises head, someday I'll make it mine. If I could only turn back the clock to when God and her were born. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Shelter from the storm. I'll give you shelter from the storm.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Well, you know, I was thinking the Paul McCartney concert recently, like
Yes.
last week, where there was a duet with Paul McCartney and the late John Lennon, and
Yeah.
through modern technology, they put the two together.
Yes.
We could have had you and Renee singing
Ah,
together.
we should have. That's right.
But we'll have you back on a future show, both of you,
Yes.
and you'll be singing those songs.
And Renee says hello and sends her apologies for her absence today. She's just not feeling well.
All right, well, get well, Renee. Well, so let's talk about Dylanfest. You know, it's 8 hours, all 8 hours, and there's what, like 40 to 50 or 60 musicians?
Every year, it's a different lineup, but this year we're going to get through 66 Bob Dylan songs, no repeats, so you'll hear one version of Blowin' in the Wind and 65 other songs that range from all the big hits to deep cuts. I believe we're going to have 29 singers and about 60 different musicians. Sometimes it's a singer that comes up and joins our band. Our band is called Hard Rain. That's Renee and I, and we expand from a duo into a 9-piece rock and roll extravaganza with drums, bass, electric guitars, violins, horns, and the great pedal steel player Marty Rifkin, who toured the world with Bruce Springsteen in 2004 to support the Seeger Sessions album. And among those guests are, we've got a fiery piano player named Bob Malone. He's going to do a great version of Tangled Up in Blue, and he's currently on tour with John Fogerty. He plays piano for John Fogerty and lots of other bands.
Great. Now, least we not forget, how can people get tickets to Dylanfest?
Please go to our website, www.andyandrenee.com, and there's a lot of different links there, but there's a particular one for Dylanfest. Just click on that. And I encourage you to get a VIP ticket. For your VIP, you get lots of fun extras. You get a Dylanfest hockey puck. Where are you going to get that? You're not going to get that when you go see The Who. You'll get a tote bag, a CD, a mug, a shirt. So lots of fun things for if you choose to go the VIP route. And you can attend one of the rehearsals as well. So get that at our website, andyandrenee.com.
Yep.
I brought a flyer here that hopefully you can see on your screen. The 32nd annual Dylanfest will be held at the Torrance Cultural Arts Center on June the 4th. The music starts at exactly 12:30 and it goes to about 8:30, and you can get tickets at andyandrenee.com.
And for those of you that have not been to their Dylanfest, what's the matter with you? Buy your tickets. You'll love it.
And there's food and alcohol for sale on the grounds. You can come and go as you please. You can come for 4 hours, earlier in the day, or catch the phenomenal rock and roll at the end.
Alrighty, well, once again, Andy Hill of Andy and Renee and Hard Rain.
This is one that Bob wrote in 1964, and one of the things he does is he often will orphan songs right after he writes them. He wrote this one. It was supposed to be on, I believe, another side of Bob Dylan, but he never released it. It came out in a bootleg in 1991, and Renee and I liked it so much we put it on our album, It Takes a Lot to Laugh. It's called Mama, You've Been on My Mind. Perhaps it's the color of the sun-cut fly covering the crossroads I'm standing at. Or maybe it's the weather or something like that. Mama, you've been on my mind. I don't mean trouble, please don't put me down or get upset. I am not pleading, saying I can't forget you. I do not pace the floor, bow down and bent, but yet, Mama, you've been on my mind. Even though my eyes are hazy and my thoughts, they might be narrow, where you've been don't bother me or bring me down in sorrow. I don't even mind who you'll be waking with tomorrow. Mama, you're just on my mind. I'm not asking you to say words like yes or no. Please understand me. I have no place I'm calling you to go. I'm just whispering to myself, so I can't pretend that I don't know. Mama, you've been on my mind. When you wake up in the morning, baby, look inside your mirror. You know I won't be next to you. You know I won't be near. I'd just be curious to know if you can see yourself as clear as someone who has had you on his mind.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Well, having seen Andy and Renee and Hard Rain, I can just envision Renee, singing along. I got to ask you a question. Is it difficult playing the guitar and working the harmonica simultaneously?
When I first moved to Los Angeles from Canada in 1985-86, I was getting some solo shows for the first time in my life, and I had to learn how to play this thing. So what I did was I used to install alarm systems in homes and businesses. So I did a lot of driving, and I bought a rack and a harmonica, and I just drove around all day, trying to pick out melodies. And that's how I learned how to do it. It's like any musical instrument. You're terrible when you start. If you apply yourself for a while, you get better. And I'm I'm not a great harmonica player, but I can play it enough to have a little melody in between, give the listener a rest from the voice and the guitar. I try to play within my limitations, and then it serves the song.
Well, I know I've seen Neil Young, performing, and he plays the guitar and does the harmonica as well, and of course sings. Obviously, can't sing and play the harmonica at the same time.
Well, those are my mentors. Renee and I also host a Neil Young night, not as often as Bob Dylan, but we've done maybe 8 or 10 of them over the years. And this, of course, is our 32nd Bob Dylan Festival. But yeah, those guys that play one instrument, play harmonica, sing, write, those are the people I grew up wanting to emulate.
And how do you select the various performers for Dylanfest?
Some of them come to us. Over the years, I should say that Renee and I are players and performers first, and producers second. So many of the acts are return acts that we've known our whole lives. And then every year we introduce new acts, and we are approached by more and more performers each year, and that puts us in uncomfortable position of having to say no, because everybody who gets included on the bill has to be at the expense of somebody else, which is hard for people of the intuitions of Renee and I.
All right. Well, buy your tickets because it's going to be selling out real soon. And now we're going to take a quick break while Andy has to do a retune of his guitar, and we'll be right back. Okay, well, we're going to hear another song. We could do this all day, but that's what Dylanfest is all about. So take it away.
So those first two songs will not be played at this year's Bob Dylan Festival, and Renee will be performing this last one I'm going to play. This is one I'm sure everybody knows. It's the title track from his album, The Times They Are A-Changin', from 1963. Come and gather around, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time with you is worth saving, then you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone. For the times, they are a-changing. Come writers and critics who prophesize with your pen, and keep your eyes wide, the chance won't come again. He will get hurt for the wheels still in spin, and there's no telling who that it's naming. We'll lose and now we'll be ready to win, for the times they are a-changing. Come senators and congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't block up the hall. For he who gets hurt will be he who has stalled. There's a battle outside raging. We'll soon shake your windows and rattle your walls, for the times they are a-changing. Come mothers and fathers throughout the land, and don't criticize what you can't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. Your old world is rapidly aging. Please get out of the new one if you can't lend your hand, for the times they are a-changing. Oh, the line it is drawn, the curse it is cast, and the soul now relay to be fast, as the present now will later be past. The order is rapidly fading, and the first one now will later be last. Oh, the times they are a-changing. The times they are a-changing. Oh, the times they are a-changing.
All All right. One of my
Thank
favorite
you.
Dylan songs.
That is a great one. It still rings true today as much as it did in 1963.
And I remember, usually I listen to the melodies when I'm hearing a song on the radio. And that was the first time when I actually was paying attention to the lyrics, and it's very powerful.
Yeah, that was one of the ways that was, I would say, the primary way that Bob Dylan influenced popular music, was to have us listen to something other than the melody.
So when I posted on my social media that you would be performing today, and I got some text messages and emails from friends, one of which is he going to play Everyone Must Get Stoned?
Ah, yeah.
And just a hint maybe for Dylanfest. And then another one was the song, and I don't know the name of it, but it goes something like, went down a manhole, tried to light a candle, couldn't find a pump because some vandal stole the handle.
Well, you remember a lot from that. That's called Subterranean Homesick Blues. And I was thinking of playing that one today. It was between that and The Times There Are Changing. But all three of those songs, the one I just played, Subterranean and Rainy Day Women, Everybody Must Get Stoned, those all get played at Dylanfest on June the 4th. And we hope that you'll join us for Everybody Must Get Stoned. There's a bunch of foam rocks that might get thrown around during that song. So our production team took a literal interpretation of that lyric. So, yeah.
Well, it's great. And for those of you who haven't seen Andy and Renee, or Andy and Renee with their band Hard Rain, you have to see it. They have a lot of great original songs as well. And they do Dylan great justice when they recreate it, and that's what Dylanfest is all about.
That's right. We have 17 CDs, if for those of you still familiar with that platform, and 3 of them are Bob Dylan CDs, including our latest, The Wheel and the Plow, which if you get a VIP ticket to the Dylanfest, you'll get a free copy of that.
All right. Well, thank you, Andy. This has been great.
Thank you so much for having me, Wayne. Renee says hello, and she misses you all.
And we look forward to Dylanfest 32 on June 4th. This is Wayne Powell reporting for Good Morning South Bay on South Bay TV. Stay safe, be well, and have a great day.
Welcome back to Good Morning South Bay. Okay, so if you just stumbled upon the show and you're just like, what is this? Hi. We're a live streaming platform reflecting the South Bay lifestyle, covering cities from El Segundo to San Pedro and all the towns in between. We cover topics including health and wellness, fashion, beauty, art, music, food, and entertainment, and with show, local news and events. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel and our online newsletter to be notified of any news stories when we go live. In the meantime, come back every Friday at 12 p.m. to stay up to date on all the latest happenings in the South Bay. Speaking of, here's what you and your family can look forward to this weekend. The Legend of Georgia McBride, the Torrance Theater Company, Sunday, May 22nd from 2 to 4 p.m. Location, Friends of Torrance Theater Company. He's young, he's broke. His landlord's knocking at the door and he just found out his wife is going to have a baby. To make matters even more desperate, Casey is fired from his gig as an Elvis impersonator in a rundown small town Florida bar. When the bar owner brings in a B-level drag show to replace his act, Casey finds that he has a whole lot to learn about show business and himself. A heartwarming, music-filled comedy full of camp, country music, and larger-than-life divas. Make sure to check that out. Drive, the movie, Sunday, May 19th, is taking place at the Rooftop Cinema Club El Segundo. The driver is a Hollywood stunt driver by day who moonlights as a top-notch getaway driver for hire in the criminal underworld by night. A loner by nature, he finds himself a target for some of LA's most dangerous men after agreeing to aid the husband of his beautiful neighbor Irene. When the job goes dangerously awry, he takes it upon himself to keep Irene and her son alive. Make sure to check out that movie. It's a good one. Royal Comedy, Saturday, May 21st, 10 p.m. Location, the Rec Room by Off the Wall. Vince Royal brings all his friends and characters live to the Rec Room. Relay for Life of San Pedro, Saturday, May 21st, at the Christ Lutheran Church and School on Western Avenue. Crazy Fish Cars and Coffee, Sunday, May 22nd, 8 to 10 a.m. Crazy Fish Cars and Coffee bring out a mix of vehicles and automotive enthusiasts. Hot rods, classics, and antiques are mixed in with newer sports cars. Crazy Fish serves breakfast burritos and is in a strip mall with a grocery store and a Starbucks. So many fun events that you can attend to this weekend. And if you have a local story or event that you would like to tell us about, please do so on our website. Follow the link on the homepage to where you can submit your story, because it's all about community and engagement, and that can't happen without you. So take care of you, your town, and each other. Thanks for watching. I'm Michelle Mirad. Have a great day, South Bay.